Welcome back to the Hearthstone World Championships, everybody. I'm joined by Azale and Reels, who's still going to stay on, and we're going to be going for StrifeCro and RunAndGun in just a second, which is going to be a really fun match. I didn't get to preview it too much beforehand, but I echo all of Artos' sentiments. I think StrifeCro is one of the people who you can peg as the heavy favorite to advance from this group, along with Kolento. But I also think people have been sleeping a little bit too much on these Chinese players. 2 out of the 3 of them have won their matches today.
Yeah, they've been performing very well.
And it's also notable a little bit back in the America's qualifier tournament leading into this World Championship, StrifeCro just barely made it through. He squeaked by. It was extremely close, down to the wire, and it's not like it was some crushing defeats or anything like that over his opponents, and RunAndGun is a real threat.
Yeah, you know, he finished, I believe, in 3rd and 4th place of the OGN Masters Season 2, and he also qualified for BlizzCon, so he's got some consistent results. StrifeCro, though, to his defense, said that when he was playing even the qualifiers, he was still a casual player. Like, he wasn't playing more than whatever he could allot to based off his free time because he was studying school. He was in classes. He's trying to become a game designer. That's what he's attending his university for.
Yeah.
So he's now focusing hardcore, and he feels like he has a really good shot at this.
Yep, and we got to see their bans there. StrifeCro's Rogue gets banned away, and StrifeCro bans away RunAndGun's Priest.
Yeah.
That's right. That's going to be interesting.
Priest makes a lot of sense, especially when you are playing Shaman, I think. You know, it's not really a matchup you want to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, Priest against Shaman, Priest against the Hunter even. And if StrifeCro is running Zoo, that'd be like Priest would be like the ultimate deadly force that you would have to take out there. And that's funny because for even pre-Nax Rammus, people were saying Priest wasn't a legitimate threat in a tournament. Unless you have some weird cases where like Priest and Amaz combined, joined forces and somehow took away. Exactly. Took it. That was the only way you could win with Priest. Yeah. But now that's not the case. Priest is legitimate. It's a strong deck. There's 2 ways you can build it. And it's a very strong archetype that you can bring to a tournament. And I think it's a really strong ban. And on the opposite side, Miracle Rogue, we've seen it today, what he can do. There's no question it's a very viable selection for RunAndGun.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think we'll see, would it be a Zoo, do you think, from StrifeCro, Handlock, and any guesses? I mean, we've only seen 1 Zoo so far, all today.
I think it's more likely to be Zoo.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I don't really have a good reason to say it.
Gut feeling.
I don't have any inside information. Just looking at his lineup, I think it might be Zoo. And maybe it is Handlock. And we actually had a match earlier where I thought, no, this guy's probably playing Zoo, and it was Handlock. So I've been wrong once already.
It's okay.
Could
Welcome
happen
to the
again.
caster life, Reels. You gotta get yourself comfortable. We're wrong quite often. Let's get to know our players a little bit more before we go any more into the match. Let's learn a little bit about StrifeCro and RunAndGun.
大家好，我是 RunAndGun， 来自中国上海，今年22岁。
My name is Kong Shu. My handle is StrifeCro. As far as the Hearthstone players, I feel like I'm one of the better players here. I do what I need to win.
我最喜欢的应该是防战，因为防战这套牌有非常低费用的解卡，然后它能够应对各种情况。
The element of Hearthstone I like the most is creature combat. So the decks that I don't like too much are very non-interactive decks such as Freeze Mage and maybe Miracle Rogue.
很多时最好玩的地方就是它能够通过一系列计算找出场面中的最优解，然后来帮你化解一系列的难题。
I don't actually know that much about RunAndGun. I saw a couple of his VODs. I think he tried to qualify for Seat Story Cup.
StrifeCro 的话，我看了基本上他最近比赛的所有视频，然后我觉得他是一个非常擅长于控制套牌的一个选手。
Honestly, the biggest factor is still going to be the skill of the player, like technical skill. People really push luck a lot more than it is, but Hearthstone is actually really consistent as far as luck goes.
我认为如果我能拿下这次暴雪嘉年华的话，我应该会比之前有名气很多，然后会更受欢迎。
Hearthstone's the most consistent card game I've ever played. You know, like the better player almost always wins, or the better deck wins, or whatever. So it's like skill has a lot to do with it.
That's awesome.
You gotta love the Mutombo figure wave, man.
Some of those little player intros, match intros have been amazing.
Yeah. They're so well done.
Just so major props to the production crew being able to put that all together in the past couple of days. Yeah. Taking a look at RunAndGun a little bit closer, it seems like he has yet to play a tournament match against a Western player. So this will be his first coming out party against players outside of his region.
And one of the toughest Western players to fight to start things off. So.
Yeah, what a way to start that off.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you can look at it both ways. You can look at it, the glass half full. If you can take him out, that's a very good start. Could build a lot of confidence.
Yep, StrifeCro, for people who don't know too much about him, he is well known for his Druid play, even dating back a year ago. A lot of his decks hit #1 rank Legend, and he was playing all kinds, whether it was Wild Pyromancer in Druid or Ancient Watchers in Druid. One of the first people to really push Force of Nature Savage Roar combos for that 14 damage burst in the game. StrifeCro's done it all, essentially, when it comes to Druid. Control, slow, fast aggro. In fact, even the token Druid in recent memory since Next Frame's released.
And interesting part about it is not playing Druid in the tournament.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, he doesn't have it in his arsenal. Instead, he's got classes like Hunter, Shaman, Warlock, and Rogue. So we're going to start things off with what looks like to be Zoo versus Hunter. And RunAndGun, of course, is the Warlock player. StrifeCro is on Hunter. So here in the beginning, I want to start off with a question. People for a while thought that with Starving Buzzard and the Unleashed combos being taken away, does that mean that Zoo is a lot stronger against Hunter because it can build the board? But people are saying, well, if you have Unleashed Hound and Knife Juggler and Snake Traps, maybe Hunter is even favored against Zoo. Do you identify with any school of thought? Anyone here?
Yeah, usually, even then, when you did have access to 2-mana Buzzard, your matchup against Zoo often did not include a big Buzzard swing turn. Occasionally it would, but often you were forced, if you had Unleashed Hounds, you were forced to use it earlier, and it was something that helped swing the game without the Buzzard part of it. And so it was not a critical part, and now not even having the Buzzard in there, it's still just an okay matchup for Hunter. It hasn't really made it any worse now that the Buzzard is more expensive.
Okay. So you're saying that it's around the same, nothing's really changed, and then you think the Zoo player has a small edge? Or do you think the Hunter has it?
I tend to fall in the camp where I think that the Zoo player usually has a slight edge. It can go towards the favor of the Hunter depending on whether or not they have things like the Snake Trap and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah. Now, just looking at the opening hands, oh wow, he's actually okay. I was gonna say, what did you think he was gonna do? Because obviously Undertaker turn 1 not the best play. So it appears he just wants to go with Hunter Creeper.
Yeah, it's the board presence. Again, this matchups in general, especially for the Zoo side, is all about the board control. So if you can sweep it from under them, cards like Direwolf Alpha and Dark Iron Dwarf, those buff other creatures have little to no impact.
Oh, and he does have Knife Juggler.
Okay. So yeah, definitely a lot of information.
Well, all the more reason to use put out the Hunter Creeper as fast as you can.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it seems like playing the Knife Juggler attacking into the Imp is probably the play here.
Well, there's a lot of risk there.
Yeah. But, what other play do you have? I guess you can just drop the second Haunted Creeper.
Second Haunted Creeper is also interesting, because on turn, you're not really afraid of, big buffers on turn 3. Shattered Sun Cleric, which is the 3-mana minion to give +1/+1 to a friendly minion.
I feel like it's falling out of grace a lot.
Yeah, it's rotated out. In fact, Harvest Golem, the one you see in the middle of the RunAndGun's hand, is often the only 3-drop that you see from most Zoo decks nowadays.
It seems like things like Lotheb and stuff, they've kind of knocked the Shattered Sun Cleric out of there. It's like some of those cards kind of had to make room.
It's especially a lot about the Death Rattle synergy. Usually when you see the Death Rattle decks, you see less of the things like Shattered Sun Cleric.
And that Undertaker would have been nice to start things off, perhaps with the Flame Imp, but with no guarantee of being able to pick up these things, I think the Harvest Golem is one of your better bets here.
Yeah. And it was also a really interesting decision by StrifeCro last turn. He decided to use the Hunter's Mark for 1 damage, essentially, on the Knife Juggler, or rather the Flame Imp, just to get it out of there. And now it could pave the way for his own Knife Juggler.
Now, Undertaker Mad Scientist is pretty nice here.
It's pretty reasonable, but it doesn't contest with the Harvest Golem that well. It may be... He might feel that it's his only good option, and If so, he'll just go for it and let the chips fall where they may.
But then how do you choose to go about it? Because the Harvest Golem is going to take out the Knife Juggler almost either way.
Right.
And Knife Juggler is one of your best responses to a flooded board, especially with a lot of weak minions. You have Unleash the Hounds with Knife Juggler, you just start throwing pepper spray everywhere, right?
It's looking like it is going to be that, though.
Oh, I mean, maybe this mad scientist can go fishing for a snake trap before he does anything else, and that can activate the Knife Juggler. Zoo doesn't have many non-ways other than Soulfire to deal with Knife Juggler.
Soulfire is a nice one, though, and it would mean giving up Loatheb if he wants to use it this turn. He may be tempted to do it anyway. But he has reasonable trades on board already, so...
The Alpha definitely does help out a fair bit here, giving him a clean trade on the Undertaker.
Does he want to tap to increase the chances of... well, I guess he's going to keep Soulfire if he's going to do this.
Alright, well, there's a secret out there somewhere.
It is a freezing trap, I do believe. I just saw it mouse
Freezing,
over.
okay, so... Freezing trap for StrifeCro. And that can be quite a bit scary. He doesn't really have much going on.
No, sir. He's got 2 flares, but just draw a card, and that's about it. Suppose the question is, what does he want to start drawing into?
Oh, man.
It's got another chance.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think he's looking for here? What would be his ideal draw?
Ooh. Unleash the Hounds is great because you have the Knife Juggler already. And then, you know, of course, having Houndmaster would be great to help control the state of the board. But I think Unleash the Hounds is too good to pass up with what you're going for synergy-wise.
So do you feel you have to hold on to the Knife Juggler then at this point if you are going to try to synergize with Unleash the Hounds? Or do you think that you go for it, just trying to control the board, you know, and using that Death Rattle from the Haunted Creeper that brings out the 2 spiders, and that will proc, you know, 2 knives?
So let's think. If you... Like, the Undertaker obviously represents a pretty big threat. So if you're trying to snipe it, that's a 1 in 4 chance and a 1 in 4 chance. That's, I don't know, that's a really low probability of being able to land it. So I don't feel comfortable taking those odds. He might just actually hero power and pass, or even flare if he wants to just draw
flare
deeper
fish
in
for a
the
1-drop, yeah. Oh, he just, wow, just hero power.
He attacks face. Because what happens is Zoo will feel really inefficient to attack and kill off the Haunted Creeper. There's just, that's 3 attacks you're wasting.
And there is the freezing trap still.
So he can get massive damage next turn across the board.
Depending on how many minions are down and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's at all worth silencing this this Haunted Creeper? I mean, I guess he has to worry about it being explosive and stuff first. You know, he has to try to figure it out because, you know, especially, you know, thinking about if it's Snake, is it explosive, is it freezing trap? You know, what do you think is the proper course of action here? I guess he's just going to go face Undertaker.
It does get rid of the trap.
Yep.
The most efficiently of any of his minions. The 1-cost minion instead of the 2 or the 3. And Loatheb could be really powerful here as well.
Yeah, what the Loatheb stops the Unleash the Hounds. And in fact, because he didn't play Flare, that's actually too expensive to play as well.
Yep.
This is a lot of damage pushed the other direction.
Definitely is.
StrifeCro kind of invited a race, and as far as we can tell, it's a race that
he's losing.
He's not winning. Yeah, exactly. But he's not winning.
Yeah, a lot of damage represented on board. I mean, we have 11 damage on board plus the 4 from the Soulfire, double Knife Juggler, but can't play the Unleash. So, I mean, at what point do you feel like you just have to start dropping the Knife Jugglers to get some sort of semblance of board control back? Because if you wait too long, you know, like we said, there's like 14, 15 damage on just showing right now.
There's a lot of damage you can do just simply with dropping both Knife Jugglers and suiciding your, or attacking with your spiders, because they will summon 2 1/1 tokens, and that means 4 damage.
Juggles, plus the 5 juggle from the first, first Knife Juggler. So that is 5 damage potentially that could be done, plus the 1 damage from that. So we're looking at 6 damage total. But I mean, you know, there is a lot that could kind of go wrong there.
There's a lot that could go wrong, but the risk is just losing.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's the only play.
Yep, and I imagine he'll just bash right into that dire wolf.
Okay.
And he wants to hit as the harvest golem, the damage golem, as much as he can.
Man.
Not good so far. There's one.
Okay, all right.
Well, he made up for some of it.
Would have liked to take out that 2-1 as well, for sure.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, being able to take out one of those jugglers for free is not ideal. I mean, you can take out both the jugglers, really. Do you think there's any merit to just going face, or do you think you just, no matter what, have to clear the jugglers?
Knife jugglers are too much of a threat. It's just that every single minion they ever play, they just throw out knives, especially if there's 2 of them. That's why I think sniping both of those small creatures were so important, because otherwise you had to give up Soulfire.
Do you feel even with the owl in hand? You know, you kill one, silence the other, go face with the Lotheb. What do you think about that?
Well, now that you tap for Doomguard, it may change your plan.
Yeah, because I mean, when you look at it, you could put 6 damage in face right now. If you silence one, oh wow, Soulfire. Not what I expected at all. Okay.
It's one of the more useless cards in this matchup.
Yeah.
And another Iron Beak Owl bites the dust.
Well, it's definitely going to end up going face with.
Oh man, poor Iron Beak Owls.
Okay.
What did they ever do to you, man?
They haven't done much, but they serve their purpose.
Do you do that to your owls?
I do not. I let Artosis and Benbro do it. Animal Companion here can be really important.
Leok, here we go. Right? Leok is the win. Okay. Well, that's still okay.
Yeah, not bad. Do you think you have to take out the Undertaker at this point in the game?
Yeah, I mean, you want to take out the Undertaker. The question
is,
how do you follow up this Misha play?
May as well flare first, right? Like, I don't think it's really a turn that you want to unleash on. I mean, flare, dig. If you don't get anything, you get hero power at least. Take out the Undertaker with your 2/1/1 spiders. The next turn, though, going to be pretty powerful for the Warlock. I mean, he has Doomguard. He can drop the Wolf and play his Doomguard, only having 1 discard. I mean, when you can play Doomguards and Soulfires without discarding much, that's when they become extremely strong.
Yeah, the discard is such a huge deal.
Yep.
But anytime you can get around it.
Yeah, makes those cards insanely strong. And I mean, you know, with that Doomguard in hand, he can take out the Misha, keep his Lotheb alive, and still go, you know, have that extra damage there. This is starting to look really good for the Warlock, I think.
And at this point, especially if he trades, he's going to be thinking to himself, please no Doomguard, please no Soulfire.
Yeah, there's some serious consideration of like whether or not you want to do some damage, but I think Undertaker is too big of a threat.
Yeah.
All right, now the good news is that no matter what, this Lotheb has to go through.
Well, no, the Doomguard can kill the Misha.
Right,
that's the problem. The Doomguard kills the Misha. That's why it's such a huge play, because it keeps the Lotheb alive. Now we're showing, you know, 14 damage, and he's at 11.
You're right.
You know, I think this is getting pretty close to the game. I mean, he can unleash here. He can unleash and he can kill the Doomguard, so that will keep him alive. But that still leaves 8 damage on board, and you with really no... your win conditions are starting to kind of fall down the drain.
Yep, unleash, kill Doomguard, hero power.
Yeah, that's all you got.
Go is...
But it's
not
only
going to
play.
do it.
It's only play, so I mean, you know, all that he's going to need to draw is RunAndGun's just going to need to draw 3 more damage. And there's a lot of ways to get 3 more damage in this Warlock Zoo deck.
Yeah, well...
Especially having 2 chances.
Realistically, all he has to do is draw 1 more turn.
Yep.
And he's going to draw 1 more turn.
Yeah.
Pretty much no matter what.
Yeah, I think StrifeCro evaluating one more time if there's another opportunity, but that isn't it. RunAndGun can pick up like a Soulfire, a Doomguard, anything pretty much within 6 mana.
Yeah, well, he's going to tap, see what he gets.
Don't really know too much of what is to think about alternatively.
Yeah, I mean, I think
is he worried about his life total? Because if you do tap, it takes 2. Like you drop down to 14 health.
What combo is there though with 8 mana that can do 14?
It's been a while since Hunters have been doing 14.
Yeah.
They don't play Leroy anymore, and even if they did, cost 5. And maybe
wow.
he is worried about that.
I find that surprising, but I guess it is the safer play. And
Yep,
regardless,
and
it's not going to make a difference. It is going to be game on the back of that. Nothing that StrifeCro can do here, and the tournament favorite going to be falling down in game number 1 of this series.
Well, it's always the first game, which can be some of the hardest based off your predictions of opponent. But StrifeCro is just going to pass, and RunAndGun takes game number 1.
Yep.
Yeah, the Asian region once again, is showing some real strength here.
Yeah, so he's going to queue up with Zoo once again and wait for StrifeCro's response, which, no, without Miracle Rogue, I mean, if he's bringing Handlock, that can be a great answer to Zoo, but if he's bringing another Zoo deck with his own Warlock class,
Yeah.
then it comes down to the good old point flip.
Yeah, and I mean, Shaman isn't, the greatest matchup against Zoo either. Definitely winnable, but it's not like a counter by any means.
It depends on what deck you have for Shaman. Some
if you have
decks are
zombie chows
stronger.
and things like that, or harvest golems.
I feel like
that can make a big
Kranich'
difference.
deck is pretty decent against Zoo, but if you're playing a burst heavy Shaman like with Lava Burst and double Doom Hammer, that's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the weapons are nice to remove, but at the same time, you're just eating away on your life total, and it's like they're never really going to run out of minions. I mean, with life tap, they're always going to be kind of flooding the board, so it can become definitely very difficult.
Some of those Shaman decks that we've seen in the past
have been killing it.
Not as often recently, but we have seen them even go down to 1 Lightning Storm instead of 2, and that's something that would be particularly not good. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
StrifeCro is one of the players who has made that call at different times,
and it's almost a must-have against Zoo. Like you almost need the Lightning Storm.
It is
to
a really
win
really
good
critical card.
Unless you have really good early draws for your minions. If you get a lot of early minions, I don't think you need to get a Lightning Storm. But if you're not really getting a lot of early minions out, I feel like Lightning Storm can become pretty necessary to win that matchup.
And those jackets that they have, I think there's 3 or 4 people who have those jackets that have like Hearthstone on them and stuff in there. Those things are awesome, man. Maybe there's some power in the jacket. I don't know.
Could be. Being good at Hearthstone. I mean, they look like varsity jackets that you would have in high school.
Yeah. They're pretty sweet.
Imagine if those were the jocks when we were around.
Maybe give it a couple more years, man. It could be. There's already there's video game scholarships and stuff going out.
That's right.
Yep.
See RunAndGun high schools giving people wedgies and noogies and stuff because he plays Hearthstone.
Is he the Hearthstone
It's
bully?
be Zoo versus Zoo, guys.
My high school experience wasn't that great, but maybe if I was recognized for my Hearthstone skill, that could have changed. Well, Zoo versus Zoo, I think being on the coin matters a lot because you're able to put out pressure, but if StrifeCro can build off of a turn 1 Undertaker and his opponent doesn't have Soulfire, that's also a possibility for turn 1 to have a big advantage in his mirrors.
Yep, there's a lot of swing cards in these games, and usually the early snowball takes the board forever. Occasionally you can swing it back with something like a Doom Guard, but besides that, this is a really volatile matchup.
What do you think about, I doubt we're going to see it here, but what do you think about some of those Zoo decks that have like the Nerubian Eggs and Hellfires and stuff in them?
Well, it's really good in this matchup. Really damn good. Because you have Hellfire to clear the board and you have something to remain afterwards.
Do you think there's any chance we could see that now seeing the Undertaker from StrifeCro?
The problem is I don't think so. That deck relies on brutal efficiency. In fact, just even making a concession such as Mortal Coil.
Oh, it is Nerubian Egg.
Right,
so,
but the Hellfire
you don't
is
think
like
it's gonna
a
be
weird thing. I think Nerubian Egg is a card that you see quite often because of Abusive Sergeant, Defender Vargas, but having like a Hellfire in combination.
Yeah, I mean it would be interesting because
surprising.
Reels was saying that he thought that StrifeCro was going to have a weird deck, so could be interesting to see if it was kind of like that Zoo anti-Zoo deck or something like that.
No, you bring up a good point. It's just I'd be very surprised if StrifeCro chose to do that.
Not that likely for sure, but it would be interesting if it did happen.
I think so.
All right, well, no Soulfire for either player, and this would be the time that you would want it if you're StrifeCro. Of course, it's not there yet. Nerubian Egg can be quite good in the Zoo Mirror match, but there is a card that is very good in counter to it, and RunAndGun is holding it. It's Iron Vical for that silence.
Well, RunAndGun in the meantime is being annoyed a lot by these cards, especially if there's an opportunity to easily trade.
Ooh.
Wow. That's really nice.
is definitely really nice.
Because now you can use the Void Walker to trade up, and then you place your Nerubian Egg for next turn to get taunt with Defender of Argus.
Will get silenced, unfortunately, but still, can be taunted up, and it's still another body. It kind of makes it a bit of a weaker turn for your opponent as well.
Sure.
If it does get silenced next turn, it actually will end up still very good for StrifeCro.
Yeah, it's very, very nice.
Even just having a 1/3 attacking into the 2/1.
Sure.
Exactly.
It's another Void Walker.
Yeah.
Yep.
Double Mortal
wow.
Coil.
Wow.
Wow. So I don't think he ever intends on banning Hunter whatsoever if he's running cards like
Ooh,
Soulfire
and
as well.
Soulfire. And if he discards the coin, he'll be very happy about that.
It's a very strong likelihood.
Yeah. And I mean, the trade here with the Argus is going to set up for another Mortal Coil as well.
Yeah.
Kill on the 1/3, which is very likely going to be traded into that Owl.
Soulfire is one of those swing cards, and right now, most of his cards are relatively low impact. So, discards Abusive Sergeant.
Not a big deal.
That's not too bad. So, now he has to really decide if he wants to do something like play Defender of Argus just on the egg.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with his other options, it's either that or you tap, because it's like, just dropping the Juggler to get killed by the Owl seems very unattractive.
Of course. And he could draw something like a Soulfire of his own, but it becomes a lot less exciting. This is almost certainly the better play.
Yeah.
The Mortal Coil is also really powerful in the mirror. In the past, because of cards, you had like Scarlet Crusader, right, in your Zoo deck for a lot of efficiency, but I wonder how much impact it'll have here. Like, cycling through your deck is really powerful, being able to draw through it. So that way you don't have to life tap to get through your deck.
Yeah, and I mean, he has the Arcus setting up for the egg next turn, and StrifeCro right now doesn't have that answer. He doesn't have the Owl, doesn't have a Soulfire, and very likely he's not going to have one, because he's probably just going to play these two minions here.
Yep, he will figure he's probably safe-ish behind the 1/1 taunt.
Yeah.
But the Mortal Coil will end up clearing it out, and then the Defender of Argus or the Direwolf Alpha letting it attack in and trade into something.
But then, as long as his Knife Juggler survives, though, I'm sure there might be some shenanigans you can pull off.
That's true.
You tap into something and you do some damage.
Yeah,
then,
definitely.
Like, the little damage pieces here matter a lot. And this is where Zoo becomes very important that you've practiced. A lot of people knock on Zoo and say it's very easy to play.
Oh, this is interesting.
Oh, he doesn't want to juggle on the 0/2 at all.
Okay.
Because if he got buffed, it would have to
be easier to trade into the 1/1. Definitely
Exactly.
smart. Yeah.
This is a very intelligent play.
Yeah, very smart.
It's not a misplay, guys. StrifeCro is actually a really good player.
No, that was 100%. Something I should have seen. Definitely really smart. Now at this point, do you think that you just coil, taunt up, and attack it in, so you can get that 4/4?
Well, StrifeCro will have a pretty solid board, even if you do.
Yeah, he will. Yeah. So I mean, talk me through some of the thought process here. Do you think it's legitimate to maybe even just Mortal Coil, coin out your Loatheb or something like that, Mortal Coil, see what you get? What do you feel that the pros and cons are of that play as opposed to simply just coiling the 1/1 and then taunting up your Nerubian Egg to get the 4/4 out?
Well, you see, the correct play is Mortal Coil into coin Doomguard, and then next turn top deck Doomguard.
Of course.
So
that's what he should be going for.
Let's go from second best option down, shall we?
I mean, the world champion play, clearly.
Yeah.
Well, I guess RunAndGun still has got some ways to improve his Zoo, if that's the case.
But what do you think? What do you think, Dan? I mean, looking at this, if this is you, are you thinking about the Argus? I mean, to me, it seems like the kind of solid play. Okay, he's not going to actually coil. He's just going to attack it, and he wants to keep the taunt alive. So that, that's another option as well.
I think I would have liked to see a Mortal Coil, because you have the opportunity of playing a much stronger, like a Dark Iron Dwarf.
Yeah, and
if you got
the
if you got the +2, you could have taken out the Knife Juggler.
Yep.
The play hasn't changed that much, and in fact, you're now starting to be in little scary modes because you can protect the Knife Juggler even better now.
Yeah.
And
now
force your opponent in an awkward position.
Looking at this, because it's 2 damage minions, do you think you take out the egg before you drop your minions for the juggles? Because hitting the egg once and then attacking it anyway doesn't really do anything. That's like a wasted damage.
I think that's a really good assessment.
Yeah.
You don't want to overkill.
Yeah, exactly. It would just be a waste of damage. So I feel like, do you think that there's really any big deal of what he attacks into it? Like whether it's the Argus or the Golem? Do you think it really matters at all?
Well, I think you want to kill off the Direwolf. I think you want to get as much as much as you can out of your Harvest Golem life. Don't kill it off unnecessarily, because then you open yourself up to Mortal Coil.
Now the next question here, if you do juggle the 4/4, are you willing to just give up your to trade into that? Do you think you have to?
I think you're willing to do that.
Yeah. So it's a 1 in 3 chance. Let's see if he hits it. No, both going to go face, which I definitely do not think is what he wanted. And now I feel like you're pretty much forced to go face with the juggler. He still has a very imposing board, but that 4/4 could cause him some problems.
No, it's okay in a sense too. You have a lot of strong minion presence.
Oh, interesting. Decides to trade. So he wants to force that 4/4 in, and I think that ended up actually being pretty nice because.
Yeah, being able to trade into the 2/3. Like, StrifeCro did it for him, but he was afraid of the buffs that was given.
Oh,
wow, what a
that
big
is
draw.
The biggest. I mean, that's exactly what we want to see.
Yeah.
And, not having to discard anything is, like, when I see that against a Zoolock, I feel like I lost the game.
Well, now he has a lot of minions on boards, and he's out of Mortal Coils, so Run and Gun has to fight a little bit more honestly, unless he has Hellfire or whatever special cards.
He has Shattered Sun Cleric.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
And I mean, having the Argus in hand as well is very nice. You can taunt those up, keep your Doomguard alive, another turn. But I mean, the damage presented here alone, we're looking at 7 plus an additional 4 if he taunts up. So I mean, we're already looking at 11 damage if he taps here. He's going to be at 5 HP next turn before it even draws. With 5 HP there, if he taps, you start drawing into things like Soulfire or perhaps your next Doomguard. The game could just be over. Arcane Golem.
Arcane Golem.
Wait, so he can put him to basically almost dead.
Yeah, he's got 9 damage plus
the 4, so he's
15.
Yeah.
Yep, 9. Defender of Argus gives him 11, and then
so you can put him to 3.
Damage. Put him 3 health.
I think
he still can tap.
I think you just go face though.
I think so. I think mana is not a big issue with this Arcane Golem.
I think you taunt up the Spiderlings or something.
Well,
or you can taunt up the Golem, but I think you protect the Doomguard. You go face.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I was gonna say I think that the damage Golem goes into the Direwolf.
Makes sense.
And everything else is gonna go face.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about? I mean, taunting up the Doomguard here makes it killable. So I feel like taunting up the Spiderlings makes a lot more sense.
You're gonna taunt the spiders, and he does end up doing that, of course, and he even
That's
trades
well.
that. Either way, trade or not, there, it sets up the same pretty much for next turn.
Yeah.
Undertaker not gonna
that's
do it.
Draw. Let's see what he gets. That is gonna be that.
That's it.
And StrifeCro gonna tie it up on the back of his Zoo Warlock here against Run and Gun. The Kha'Zix gonna come in here.
The Arcane Golem Zoo Warlock. I wonder if that means that he's got some power overwhelmings going on.
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of damage burst, and that is a surprise, but we've seen it at StrifeCro in the past. At IEM Shenzhen, he tried running a deck like this too, where he was running, I believe, 2 Arcane Golems, but I don't know if that's the case here.
Yeah, definitely could be. And it's the instant Paladin choice here from Run and Gun.
That is curious. We're seeing Paladin here. It's too bad Ben Brode is not longer on the couch the couch here, because I know he was
he's right there.
Oh, there he is. There he is. He's here in spirit.
Right
hey, Ben, what do you think about Paladin being chosen?
Yeah,
all right.
2 thumbs up. There
2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
If he had 4 thumbs, he'd give it.
Yeah, he would.
All right, well, Paladin against Zoo is a tough matchup. Even, Ben said it, as much as he even loves playing Paladin on ladder, it can be very difficult to juggle against all the pressure Zoo puts against you. No pun intended.
Do you think there's any chance that this isn't just like a cut and dry control Paladin because of him choosing this against this? I mean, it's like, do you think there's any chance we see something a bit off the wall here?
Oh, you think the aggressive Paladin?
Yeah, I mean, do you think there's any chance? I mean, bringing it out, you talk about how it's a bad matchup with the Control Warlock, or rather with the Control Paladin versus the Zoo Warlock. So do you think there's any chance we're seeing something a bit weird here? We talked a bit about, in the preview, maybe Run and Gun trying to throw some surprises out there. And sometimes people consider, the aggressive decks maybe giving you a higher chance to win against perhaps someone who's a more skilled player.
The problem with the aggressive Paladin is that it's outmatched by Zoo card for card.
Yeah.
The efficiency of Zoo outmatches the efficiency of Paladin. that's aggressive, and the aggressive paladin really is dependent upon that one card called Divine Favor.
Yeah.
Which is to draw as many cards as your opponent's
holding. And
holding.
since Zulocks always have no hand cards.
Precisely.
Yeah. So
aggressive Warlock decks, they run on life tap, and aggressive Paladin decks run on Divine Favor, which is no good when your opponent has no cards in hand. So it really ends up oftentimes being not in the Paladin's favor. They do have cards that do actually trade rather well, but it really is perfect things lining up. So I would imagine it's more of a control Paladin. But even if it is, usually that's not a good matchup against Zoo.
So if you are playing control Paladin, let's say you were to make some adjustments to your control Paladin deck to make it better against Zulok. What kind of adjustments would we be seeing here?
Actually, this is where I want to throw tip my fedora towards Reels. He puts in some tech cards like Haunted Creeper in his Paladin deck to make it a little bit better, more consistent early on. And it also gives it some good synergy with equality, for example. Like if you need to use equality on the cuff, where you don't have like Consecration, that one attack creature is resilient, and it even fills up the board with more tokens. So I like small inclusions like that. It really does depend, though, on what RunAndGun prefers. Maybe he's playing a super greedy deck because he made a call in the metagame saying, I think everyone's going to be playing slow decks. I want to play a slower one.
Yeah, and actually, I had a chance to speak with StrifeCro before this match, and he was saying that he was anticipating out of RunAndGun's Paladin a very heal-heavy deck, with almost all the heals in it, and just kind of like that's what he was saying. He was seeing from the Chinese players, the Taiwanese players, Korean players.
Yeah, maybe that'd be the case, but he's got one of the best starts you could ever ask for, and he's resilient against AoE because the Rubian Egg will still spawn that 4/4 body after Consecration's used.
Undertaker Coin, Leper Gnome, turn 2 Egg as well. I mean, that is not what RunAndGun was hoping to see.
Oh, man.
I don't know about you, but when I see Undertaker Coin, Leper Gnome, I get real scared.
Yeah.
Scared is one thing. I get mad more than anything else. I'm just gonna put it out there.
But well, usually especially when they have the turn 2 follow-up, then you just then I'm starting to mouse over concede. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're still not worried about your opponent being able to just do anything on turn 3 to threaten your board, and then the Rubian Egg will come out the next turn against Consecration.
It looks like he's decided for sure to play the Knife Juggler. He's deciding where he wants to put it.
Yeah.
He could draw something like Defender of Argus or Direwolf Alpha, and that could make an impact.
And then it's nice that he does have True Silver Champion and Consecration. Those are 2 important cards against Zoo.
Yeah,
and do you feel you just have to drop the Peacekeeper here? I mean, he gets some sort of board control going?
I would imagine he's going to.
Yeah.
And
just on the
absolutely. It gets something out there. It hopefully trades with 1 or maybe 2 cards, or 1.5 if you want to weight the ability, the damage reduction that way.
Right. Then your fear is the worst case scenario is very bad.
Wow,
where
that's surprising to me. Do you
really
feel like?
greedy.
Do you feel like? Yeah, I feel like he's trying to get super greedy for a big Consecrate. But like, I mean, things are going to start getting buffed up. The Nubian Egg comes down. That can put, his 2/2 out of Consecrate range. Obviously, if he trades into 1/1, that's still back into it. But either way, you Consecrate, you're giving him the 4/4.
That's right.
So, I'm not sure. I feel like that's too greedy.
And, all right, he gets the juggle too,
So now 2 of his minions, I mean, you can't even Consecrate this.
I mean, you could, but I think you could put the True Silver. The True Silver might be better.
I mean, do you really think you would want to? I mean, it seems like pretty gross to Consecrate that. I think you have to True Silver.
Yeah. But then it starts getting more complicated. Dark Iron Dwarf comes out, and as much as your True Silver can answer it, you're just taking a lot of damage.
Yeah. I mean, this is looking really bad, honestly, for RunAndGun, I think, already.
It's still not impossible, though. There are board sweeps.
Nice as well.
Yeah, you have Belcher, and then the next turn you have Equality Consecration. So there are stabilization points. These are checkpoints in the sense of, like, Paladin can get to this point with a reasonable amount of health, then RunAndGun might actually be able to turn it around, but this is where Paladin's the weakest.
Yeah. Now, do you think that we're just going to see... I mean, he obviously has to be taking into consideration Consecration. So, it's a bit scary to drop your other Knife Juggler. Do you think we're just going to see something like tap and a Haunted Creeper? I mean, he probably doesn't want to use his Dark Iron Dwarf before the activation for the 4/4 as well, right? So I mean, do you think he just is going to value getting that 4/4 down and just doing the extra damage now, or do you think we're going to see him play it a little bit more slowly, trying to avoid giving a huge board clear to his opponent?
Well, with that True Silver Champion already out there, having his board getting cut down to a non-threatening size is a real risk.
Yeah.
So he goes for the Dark Iron Dwarf. It is an imposing threat. His opponent is down to 11. That's
very scary.
That's exactly. It's much more scary, and it makes Consecrate a much weaker play.
Yeah. And I mean, you can clear the dwarf, but you're putting yourself down to 9 HP.
Yeah, and the problem with just going for Sludge Belcher is the popularity of the owls that have been coming into the zoo deck, and you play the owl and just silence and just push for the win. So this is a very uncomfortable position for Run and Gun. And once again, even so, even if he goes for a quality Consecration the next turn, he still has to deal with this egg.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, in the background, we know there's a Haunted Creeper coming down, and Loatheb could be coming the turn after this, and very likely Loatheb would be coming down if the board doesn't get cleared somehow now, so the Equality Consecrate becomes not an option anymore.
So, Rails, what do you think about if you want to, let's just think outside the box. Is there any merit of playing Holy Light this turn with one of your 3 drops to try to reduce as much damage as possible? Say we...
like do it on the Peacekeeper, the Peacekeeper on the Dwarf?
Sure, and then heal up, take out the Knife Juggler.
Looks like that's what he's thinking about.
And yeah, it looks like that's what he's decided to do.
4 damage right back. He's going to heal 2 of it.
So, if this game ends and StrifeCro kills Run and Gun, I am eventually going to look back and I keep looking at that Aldor Peacekeeper.
Yeah.
Saying, I wanted you to fight. I wanted you to fight monsters.
How tempted are you just to go all out on these Knife Juggles? But I think Loatheb also feels pretty tempting too, just for the soul body.
Yeah, I mean, I think the 5/5 at this point is pretty intimidating. You know, what can it really be removed by? I mean, we've already seen one weapon being used. You know, the spells aren't going to be an option at this point in the game either. With your opponent at 15 mana, you have 5 damage represented right there. You're going to have an additional 5 from the Loatheb, 2 from the Death Rattle. The damage is starting to really pile up. And, you know, once again, we've harped on this whole time, but the Nerubian Egg still sitting there in the background, you know, means even if you somehow clear, you have another 4 there.
That's
so,
right.
you know, you're looking so close to lethal just by kind of dropping that Loatheb and just going face.
That's right. The Nerubian Egg will have a bigger role in the grander scheme of things. And StrifeCro pushing for more damage. A quality Consecration is off the table.
And at this point, it feels like, I mean, basically just feels like he's forced a ton up, but I'm not really sure that's going to do much for him.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right, though. I don't think he's going to have any other choice. At this point, he may even need to be...
wow. I mean, I guess you can silence the owl or something, but I mean, you can owl the egg and then try to set up for the Quality Consecrate next turn. I guess that's what he's trying to do.
But what's dangerous is, once again, what if your opponent has an owl himself?
Yeah.
Yep.
He just silences his Loatheb and your
Yep.
Peacekeeper has done nothing.
Yeah.
You play this owl too, right?
Yeah, you have to play the owl, I think, and set up for Quality Consecrate next turn. Because you wouldn't have enough mana otherwise, right? You'd be 1 mana short.
But then there's the Leper Gnome that's going to be impending 2 damage no matter what.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like you have to. You kind of have to try to play. It might not be as safe, but it's like you have to look at how you get a win, right? And I mean, if you leave that on the board, I think that this is the play, because you know, getting the big Quality Consecrated at this point is really, I think, is the only hope.
Well,
of
Power
winning this
Overwhelming
game.
ends the game immediately.
Okay.
We don't know if it's in his deck, but the game would be over.
StrifeCro has a perfect curve.
Even Soulfire.
I feel like you just start juggling at this point, though. I mean, you can drop his whole hand and prepare for a Doomguard or something that could be, you know, it could end the game next turn as well.
All right. Where are these juggles going?
Not bad.
Your opponent
I mean,
is
so
so
do you
low.
trade in now?
Yeah, I feel like you might just trade the gnome now to not waste any more juggles. I think this is the smart play. It's the most efficient, and I mean, with the amount of board control that he has, I think he's feeling like he's in a great spot. So, you know, he's willing to do this, and that's a big juggle. Let's see if we can get one more.
Straighten the dagger. The owl is all that remains. Hold the line.
Oh,
all right, well,
that's a good owl.
It's all right.
fine, yeah.
Loatheb can take him out.
Yeah, but that's a good owl.
It is.
Yeah.
But all the same, the owl falls down.
Now, Equality Consecration still leaves a couple of 1/1 tokens.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it leaves you, it's maybe a snowball's chance, but it's still a chance.
True. He's doing 1 extra damage, perhaps, in case the off chance he gets Doomguard. I think he's worried, because the Wild Pyromancer plus the Consecration, if he attacked into the bird, would clear the board.
Yeah.
So he's playing around that as well. Very good, astute observation from StrifeCro.
So another equality.
That is probably one of the worst draws in this deck. You already have one. There's no point in having it again.
I mean, there's no other play. He has to equality consecrate and then pray his opponent doesn't get anything. I mean, you can drop the Sludge Belter, but it doesn't keep you alive.
Arcane Golem, Doomguard,
Yeah.
Soulfire,
Soulfire. There's so
Power
many
Overwhelming.
outs.
They all end the game.
No. The owl. Yeah.
Oh, owl down, finally.
All right, StrifeCro.
Let's see what you get. Flame Imp not going to do it. I'm sure he's going to tap.
Okay.
That's not going to do it either. So he does live another
Closer.
turn. The Belcher, will come out, and maybe, maybe he draws into another Holy Light, starts forming some sort of a comeback. Who knows?
Sure.
Or perhaps, a Guardian, heal up that way a little bit. But he's definitely going to need to start getting some good draws, and that's not it.
He's going to have to put his hope in the Sludge Belcher.
All right, well, still any charge damage, any Power Overwhelming, he's all end the game.
He has 2 chances to get it as well. That's not it. Let's see what he gets.
Is that good enough?
No,
that
he's
puts it
one
at
damage off.
Yeah.
1 damage
But
off lethal.
You still do it?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you get that guy out of the way while you can.
Well, I'm saying, do you clear the board or do you
Oh,
do you damage? Because the 3 damage versus 3 health versus 1 health feels somewhat inconsequential.
Well, when you have a Haunted Creeper in play, though, it becomes a little bit better.
That's true.
It's the same as the previous turn where the Spectral Spider survived. That could happen again.
Yeah.
All right, fine, Reels.
Yeah, well.
You win this one.
This time.
You win this time. Okay, so I guess it depends what he wants to give up, a minion or weaken his wolf. But again, if you're doing that damage, it's all about just having 1 minion stick.
Yep.
Now,
Yeah, and with the Haunted Creeper, I think it's almost guaranteed that one will.
well, he does have Spellbreaker. That's a second silence in the deck as far as I can see.
Yep.
So
Consecrate.
Consecration.
Yeah, there you go. That's what he's going to be looking for, or a giant taunt Tyrael, maybe. Oh, humility's not it.
Man.
Is that? I think that might be the end. I mean, that might be
Can't clear.
game 2 to Strife, or game 3 to
that
Strife.
is, that is going to be it. I mean, doesn't matter what he silences, he can only kill 1 of the minions off. So that is going to be, there's the concede, and StrifeCro taking 2 games back to back with his Zoolock.
I was so scared that maybe he wouldn't end up winning that game after he spent a couple turns top decking into not Soulfire, not Doomguard, not Power Overwhelming.
We've all been in that position too as a Zoo, where just you whiff on everything possible. Get your second Undertaker, get everything situational. But now RunAndGun is down to his last deck. It is a Shaman, and Shamans sometimes have the same problem as every other Paladin deck, where if you don't draw into the right answers, you just get blown out of the game.
Yeah.
But Shaman does have one of the best ways to respond to these early aggressions. You have 6 spells, assuming he's playing a normal Shaman, that can kill off these early drops, whether it's Lightning Bolts, Rock Biters,
Lightning
or
Storm or Shocks, etc.
Yeah, they have so many 1-mana removal spells. They have Wolves, they have Lightning Storm, all these answers, but you have to have the answers that line up with
your opponent's options.
With the questions that the Zoo deck is asking.
Yeah, it's definitely true, and I mean, especially when Zoo decks start to get buffed up a little bit, with Argus and things like that, it can sometimes push them out of those damage options, which can be a little bit difficult.
Yeah. Well, so far, man, Group D living up to my expectations. I think the group is completely stacked front to back, and StrifeCro and Kalento are the big names, but you were saying it, Dan, that of course the Chinese players and all of the Asian players really have shown up to this tournament so far and have been doing quite well.
I think Zoo's been doing quite well in this series overall.
Yeah, no
They've
kidding.
won every single game so far.
No, there was the Zoo
also
mirror
lost
match.
the game.
Zoo has
Zoo
also
did
lost a
lose to
game.
Zoo, yeah.
That is
But
true.
Zoo only loses to Zoo.
Yeah, it's 3-1, statistically proven.
Yep, exactly.
right.
Yeah, it's science.
Actually, didn't we saw a Zoo loss earlier in the tournament, I believe.
I believe so.
No
I think
one
it was,
remembers that reels. Don't worry about
I
that.
believe so.
That
but
was hours ago.
Hours ago.
People
The
also
Twitch
say
chat
they
won't
also saw
remember.
Aurora Borealis at one time. So
Yeah.
RunAndGun is going to go to Shaman deck and see if he can turn this around. Lightning Storm is a critical keep. Of course, we don't know exactly what kind of Shaman deck that he's running,
I
but
pray for him. It has early minions.
Chinese Shaman decks generally like to have that tempo style, like being able to grab a lot of momentum on board. And in fact, Shaman was one of those really critical decks to win WCA in the first place, right? That's what Lebo used along with the Zoo in order to capture that $96,000 win, which was insane.
Yeah.
So we're going to go straight into game number 4 and see if StrifeCro can close it out or RunAndGun, even it out their Shaman deck.
Alrighty, well, Earthshock, not a bad card to have in your hand. Feral Spirit's pretty decent as well. Definitely hoping to get one of those one-drop minions. I feel like actually having a one-drop minion as a shaman is actually so massive against Zoo.
Does he have it, though?
difference.
Yeah.
Does he even run it? Does he even
knows?
have Undertakers?
Who knows? Yeah.
And
Might
Strife.
have Undertakers, might not have any.
Oh, and Strife misses his one drop.
Wow.
So a little bit of a slow start for StrifeCro's Zoo.
Unless RunAndGun's like, is he playing handlock? That's not possible.
No switcherino.
Yeah, and that is a really good sight if you're the Shaman player.
Definitely.
You have great ways to handle pressure because you have Feral Spirits and you have Earthshock, but that's very weak. Like, you need more than that to handle Zoo.
Now, do you think we're just seeing the Coin Spirits here? How do you feel about that? I mean, it is going to overload you pretty heavily, but you have the Earthshock, as your 1-mana spell for next turn, which isn't so bad.
I like it. Or the earlier Feral Spirits can come to control the board and get that overload out of the way.
Yeah.
Usually the better. The caveat to coining it out is the fact that you only have 1 mana afterwards.
And
But you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, the Abusive Sergeant is pretty nice here, though. It allows you to trade something in there pretty decently. That's one of the things that definitely can be tough to deal with, when you do start having those minions buffing each other up and allowing them to take you out. Because if you can take out Feral Spirits efficiently, then it starts to get a little bit rough because the turns after them are much slower because of the overload mechanic.
I think putting out the Abusive Sergeant now makes a lot of sense.
Do you think you tap?
Sniping it.
Do you think you tap, or do you think you just drop the alpha?
With a Doom card in hand, I believe you want to dump your hand as much as possible, right, Reels?
You can do that, and it depends on how decent you think your turns will be leading into that Doomguard turn. If you think that basically your plays are going to be garbage for a long time, then you might want to tap and end up playing your Doomguard later than turn 5. In this case, he thinks the owl is good enough, and I think that may be about right.
Do you think you Earthshock the owl?
Especially now that you've drawn a second one, it seems really likely.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of have to. I mean, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. I mean, especially because when you're looking ahead, your next couple turns aren't really looking that good. You're going to lose the wolf, so you're going to have the possibility of dropping your defender, but dropping a defender without anything to taunt up isn't really ideal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something you'd like to do, but it's something you're forced into sometimes in situations like this because you just can't really have a lot of those hero power pass type turns against Zoo.
Yeah, usually against Zoo, when you're playing something like Shaman, the general idea is to stay at as high of a life total as you can, because eventually your cards are going to be more powerful than theirs, and you just want to make sure that you get to that point.
Yeah, especially getting to things like Fire Ellie, you really can start taking control. I mean, the trade's so beautifully.
So the Earthshock does come out.
Yep.
And
I like it.
The Wolf is going to get traded into really easily. And actually, this is a good draw. Any 1 or 2 drop would have been welcome here for StrifeCro, so he can get 2 cards out of his hand this turn. And he'll have to make a big decision the following turn about whether or not he wants to play the Doomguard. I imagine he'll probably just play Lotheb first.
Yeah. I mean, Lotheb's a rough card discard. I mean, I guess you can really just kind of go balls to the wall and just see what you discard. I mean, maybe if he draws another 1-drop, it can get risky. But Hex is going to be nice if he does go over the Doomguard.
Yeah, eventually that will be a great answer to the Doomguard. And it's actually looking pretty good for RunAndGun. He needs to weather this storm a little bit, and he doesn't have Lightning Storm. Of course, that would be a card that you would love to play here.
Yeah, I mean, the Argus feels so weak to me. Do you think there's any merit to just simply like Earthshocking the Wolf and drawing the Mana Tide or anything like that? You know, I mean, Mana Tide's not gonna be useful later. I guess he just feels like he has to do this, but it feels kind of rough.
Yeah, it is. And second Doomguard, that's not what you want to see. And this means pretty much no matter what, one of them is going to get discarded to the other.
Yeah.
So we'll probably see Loatheb come down here just to make sure he has at least 2 of these high-impact cards that he can play.
Yeah.
You know, on the flip side, I think when you draw a double Doomguard, one of the better ways to salvage the situation is to draw Soulfire, because no matter what, you know the outcome of it.
Sure.
As opposed to like losing both of those Doomguards and then dropping the second card you draw.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
So his next best pickup, even though it's counterintuitive, is to actually pick up a Soulfire.
Oh, and this is actually...
well, not anymore.
this is still good for StrifeCro. Playing a Doomguard into a Loatheb
is very nice, yeah. I mean,
it's good.
Because then what do? I mean, you can't really hex it. You have to hex the Loatheb, and there's still going to be the damage represented from the Doomguard. It's like, it starts to get a bit scary here. I mean, you have, right there, you have 10 damage showing. He's probably just going to Doomguard into the Loatheb, hit him in the face for 10 damage. He's at 14 with 15 damage on the board. You know, that's not a situation you want to be in. Sure, he's going to have answers. He's going to be able to, you know, clear up the Doomguard with the Fire Rally, things like that, but still, you know, you'd still be left with a Loatheb to trade into that. You're still left at a pretty low life total. It starts to look kind of scary.
Soulfire would have been a great draw, like you said, Frodan. It actually would have worked out very well here.
Well, Loatheb unfortunately threw a big wrench. Like he couldn't Soulfire. Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance he just like taps an eggs? I mean, it seems like that would be like kind of too greedy. I feel like you just have to Doomguard.
I think you want to seize
Yeah.
seize the tempo as much as you can,
for sure.
by taking initiative on the board.
Yeah.
So he also does have other chargers. So as much as you do lose a little bit of damage here, you're putting him at 14.
Yeah. And I mean, once again, you know, it's basically, it's got to be the Fire Rally into the Doomguard, I think. But still, you know, Loatheb is sitting on the board as that option to deal with it.
It is so much damage.
And I mean, the thing is, he doesn't even have to trade. He can just go face again, put him at 4, and with that, he only needs to draw a Soulfire, you know, his Arcane Golem, a Power Overwhelming. There's a lot of options here, a lot of ways to end the game. So I mean, it's a rough spot, but I think the Fire Rally is the only play.
I don't know. It's so much damage coming in. 10 damage coming in next turn if you play the Fire Elemental.
Well, what else do you do though? I mean, do you hex and then do you you know, Rock Biter and hit the Doomguard? Is that what you're suggesting? And pray for a Taunt Totem or something?
Rock Biter, hit the Dire Wolf, maybe.
And then hex afterwards.
Hex Loatheb.
That gives you enough to Taunt Totem, perhaps.
Yeah, but still,
hex Loatheb
then
and then Earthshock the 2/1.
Yeah.
And then you take 5 damage. And then, well, plus the 2 from the Dire Wolf Alpha. You take 7, and next turn you Fire Elemental the Doomguard, I guess. But he'll have supposedly played more minions.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, you know, the only problem with doing things like that is then you have no damage showing on the board. You know, where do you start to threaten the Warlock and actually win the game?
Well, taking 10 is
yeah, I think you're
almost certainly death.
Worried more about surviving because
I mean, I feel like both courses are pretty much.
Oh man, what I really liked about Reels' play is that you keep your health as high as possible because now he's going to be on Soulfire to win the game no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see what you're saying, but at the same time, I feel like doing it that way, having no minions on the board still is just waiting to lose.
But I think what Reels is getting at is when you keep yourself as high health as possible, it gives you room to come back because then you can draw into Feral Spirits, you can roll your Taunt Totems, get your Defender of Argus. From this position, you're just going to be on 1 card to die from this point on. It's going to be very hard for RunAndGun to pull himself out.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. I mean, he would still be sitting at 9 HP. You know, so he would have 5 extra HP as opposed to you know, it'd be 9 versus 4. You know, you wouldn't have the Fire Rally out, but still.
And if StrifeCro were to draw 2 minions, you could draw Lightning Storm and kill all of them.
Yep.
Right. Now, what this play does do is give him ability, if his opponent goes in for the entire attack directly to the Shaman face, it does give him an ability to start controlling a lot of what the board comes down. But it's still a scary proposition. Like,
yeah,
how do you...
He's effectively at 2 HP unless he Earthshocks the Leper now, which he'd be very well made to do. But
I think he might have to.
Yeah, I think he has to.
Yeah.
Is this a play around Lightning Storm? I think it is.
Yeah, if he holds on to the Flame Imp here, he's figuring this board is dangerous enough. But that Sludge Belcher actually is going to say otherwise.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you pretty much have to. I feel like you have to trade the Fire Alley into Lothab. You know, drop your Sludge Belcher, Urshock the Leperno. And then the question is, do you Rock Biter the 2/2? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if you're at 2 HP or 4, huh?
Alternatively, if you Hex, it leaves you 4 mana.
Yeah. But then not
Still
much of a
gives
play
you
after
barely
that. You
enough
can't get
to-
a taunt. Yeah, I think you need the taunt. So I think the only play really is the trade.
Yeah, Sludge Belcher's got to be the guy here.
Yeah.
He's your man. You say, please, Sludge Belcher, be good enough.
With Ironbeak Owls being so popular, I don't know. Like his opponent did save a card, and he had 4 mana remaining. Like,
Yeah.
there's not, and you already discarded a second Doom Guard. There's not many cards that Zeus be willing to hold.
Well, an Ironbeak Owl still wouldn't necessarily kill him immediately.
Sure.
If he had played the Flame Imp, it would have. But he was playing around Lightning Storm, which is very reasonable.
So do you think he Rock Biters the Wolf? I feel like he should.
It might be his best course of action.
Yeah, I
to
just feel like
keep the Sludge Belcher as healthy as possible.
Yeah, I feel like there's no real difference between having the 2 HP or the 4 HP. Soulfire kills you either way, so I feel like this is more like a winning play, like we talked about.
Okay, back on StrifeCro. Still 2 draws to win. Oh. All right.
That's not it. Let's see if he can. So he does live another day. I mean, he can't clear this up. Do you trade that Golem in, give your opponent another mana to deal with?
No way. If you have Owl in your deck, you hold it.
You hold it for sure. So it's got to just be an Egg and a Flame Imp then.
Well, he's got the 2 Soulfires. Oh, it looks like he's just going to trade into it.
He's going to trade it in. I don't think it's a bad choice. I mean, there's still so many options to game.
Yeah, you still got the Soulfire.
You might have to Hex this Flame Imp, which is quite amusing
gross,
to me.
Yeah.
It's something. I don't know what it is, but it's something.
Let's see what he draws.
PGH.
Big Game Hunter. That is interesting.
So do you feel like you just have to Hex up the Imp and drop? Oh,
well, you Totem. You Totem for the win. You Totem for the win. You get Taunt Totem, and you toss out a Greetings. If he drops Manta Totem, I'll be. I won't be mad either.
I think it's reasonable.
All right, so we don't know how many Arcane Golems are going on over there.
Not it either. Harrison, Big Game Hunter, not with against Zoo.
Undertaker.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
well.
That's something.
Yeah, he already both used both Urshocks, right? And a Hex.
Yep. So that's almost certainly going to turn into a 4/4.
Yeah.
And those are 2 cards that are not going to be helpful for Run and Gun, unless this Undertaker gets way out of control.
Even if it's not the win with just these draws, it does probably buy him even another turn
Yeah.
towards hopefully finding that Soulfire that he so desperately wants. He's like,
how deep is StrifeCro in his deck? He's been tapping 2 cards a turn for a while now.
yeah, I haven't seen him look at it.
Oh,
These
so
cards
honest.
he's drawing are just so slow. I mean, it's like.
Does he run Reincarnate in his deck?
Oh.
It's really interesting. These are 3 cards you don't normally see in Shaman. He drew them back to back to back. That is pretty bad luck for Run and Gun. No Lightning Storms to be had.
Yeah, and actually this looks like this is it.
Yeah.
This is enough to kill him. He can't kill the Defender of Argus. And one of
needs
those
a
minions is
Taunt
going to be able to
Totem.
clear out. Yeah, Taunt. Well, even Taunt Totem, is that good enough?
If he gets a Taunt Totem and he just kills the left minion, he could have survived one more turn. But
yeah, he
but
would have had
he's-
one turn.
Yeah, but he's not going to be able to do it, so that should be that. He can drop the Harrison, can do whatever he wants. It's not going to matter. I mean, he can take out the Undertaker, but he's going to be able to push through.
Which means StrifeCro is going to 3-0
Wow.
with Zoo, and
Well-
he's going tomorrow into the winner's match.
3 straight games with Zoo, 3-1 total match score, and it was too much. So much pressure all the time, and
Yeah.
maybe if you think maybe if I had Lightning Storm and you just don't get it and stuff like that, that's the pressure that it puts on you.
Yeah, poor Run and Gun. It just felt like he was almost always on the verge of stabilization with this Paladin and that Shaman game, but just barely unable to do so. But at the same time, StrifeCro is a fan favorite, and a lot of people are pretty happy to see him go to the winner's match.
Yeah.
And it was also expected, too, because him and Kalento on paper are 2 of the strongest players that you can ever imagine in a tournament, let alone be in the same group.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just felt like, you know, some of the draws he got were just pretty dead draws near the end. I mean, the last 3 cards, Harrison, Sylvanas, and what was the other one? Big Game Hunter. You know, definitely not what you want to be seeing against a Zoo. And if you can't establish that board control, you know, we did get to the later stages of the game, like you talked about earlier, you know, getting those more powerful minions out and stuff, but he never really got the chance to get there and stabilize.
Yeah, he didn't get to do it with enough life total. By the time he played a Fire Elemental, he was essentially at 4 life.
And I mean, he was facing a Doomguard and a Lothep.
And that's just really scary, and you need something else to help you get to those bigger drops without being at 4.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't enough, and I mean, that's what Zoo does, and StrifeCro knows this. I think he's got an interesting build. I haven't seen Power Overwhelming yet, just the...
It's true. We've dug a lot, very deep. In fact, we still haven't seen Soulfires, even though he fished for them for 2 games in a row.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure he
Yeah,
played
we've just seen the
Soulfires.
one Arcane Golem, so we don't know if there's a second Arcane Golem. We don't know if there's Power Overwhelmings. So, you know, definitely some interesting stuff for this deck. It turned out very, very well for him.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's take a look at the groups to see where we sit right before our final match of the day. StrifeCro defeated RunAndGun to start off Group D, which means our last match will be Kalento versus Frozen Ice, which should be a good one too. Frozen Ice, a great player from Taiwan, but we'll tell you more about it when we come back. But before we do that, I believe StrifeCro is getting ready for an interview with Rachel to see what he thought about that series.
All right, thank you so much, StrifeCro. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How'd it
It's
feel
good
to walk
win.
out here? They're cheering your name.
Yeah, I felt good. I've never really been cheered for before, I think. I don't know, like...
I feel like
I've
that's
won
not
before.
true. I feel like
I've
that's
won
just
before.
not true.
No, I mean, not like... people have clapped and, you know, whatever, but not like chant my name after the match. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Well, that's a cool way to be. I know, you know, the community is happy because they put a
I'm
lot
happy.
of pressure on you to win.
Yeah, I was really worried game 1, too, after game 1. I mean, I thought I had a good matchup game 1, too, with the snake trap stuff, but yeah, it didn't work out too well.
How nervous were you after you lost that game? I mean, did you think that you had a chance to lose the whole thing, or were you pretty confident with your other decks?
I mean, like, I kind of had to go Zoo Mirror, which is kind of, you know, more random, I guess. I mean, it's not really random, because Zoo Mirror is actually not as random as people think, because there's, like, a lot of creature interaction in battle, so you can actually make a lot of good decisions, but... yeah, I mean, I was definitely worried because I didn't think my Shaman was that great against his lineup, so I was really relying on the Hunter and Zune since Hunter didn't even take down 1 game. Yeah, I was kind of worried.
You come off as kind of a humble guy, but after winning here today, do you think you're the greatest Hearthstone player to ever live?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
I usually like
Yeah.
like I think maybe, but like I usually, I mean, I guess I've thought that for a while, but it's more like I keep it to myself, you know. But I guess you know now, if I win BlizzCon, I guess I'll try to you know flaunt it more or whatever.
You get that on a license plate or something.
Yeah. My license plate, best Hearthstone N8. Maybe I'll chant to like World or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blizzard will print that for you, right? Right? Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Cool.
So they call you the grandfather of Druid, but the community was also very concerned that you didn't even show up with a Druid deck.
Yeah, I mean, like after Sea Story Cup 2, I actually thought a lot about like the tournament format, and like before, I've never really like prepared for a tournament per se before. I've always just kind of like played where I played on ladder or whatever, and I mean it's been okay, but I haven't been doing that well with the strategy lately, and it's just like it's hard for me to change unless I realize the concept why, you know, because you can attribute it to variance or whatever, or you know some misplays, but yeah, I really thought about it a lot, and I really, like, something hit me, basically, like a really big revelation after, and I prepared really hard for this tournament. My deck lists are a lot different than normal. Like, it's really tuned for, like, the whole 4-deck, you know, the whole rules, like, 1 band, 3 decks or whatever. And yeah, I mean, I do think that my deck lists are, like, really good, so.
Were you getting worried at the end of that last game when you were looking for some way to close it out?
Yeah, I think the last 2 games I was like kind of scared because I think I lost both my Doom Guards early. Yeah, because I discarded the other one. I do have a lot of damage because you know, the Arcane Golem, like you saw, but But yeah, I mean, it kind of sucked because the Belcher kind of ruined my plan. Like I should have played Flamant that one turn maybe, but I guess before he played the Belcher, I just wasn't sure what kind of shaman it was. Like I thought it could be like some kind of Doomhammer double rock biter.
Right.
And I actually calculated where I would die if I played Flamant on Doomhammer double rock biter. And like every card he's played since then it didn't feel like a more board control shaman because there was like no Harvest Golem. It was kind of like slow. I thought maybe his hand was like Lava Burst and Hexes, like like cards like that. So yeah, I thought like one of the only ways I could lose is Lightning Storm anyways, like because Doomhammer 2 Rockbiter is rare, but Lightning Storm is probably more common. So it's kind of pointless to play. You just take 3 damage against Lightning Storm, so I didn't. And then I was like, oh man, I'm getting taunted out, and I don't have like the creature now. So yeah, it worked out though.
That is some insight into how your brain works, too. Just hearing you explain all that and realizing that I don't think that way, and maybe that's why you're in the chair over there and I'm in the chair over here.
Yeah, I had my Soulfire still, so those are good cards.
Man. Well, thank you so much, StrifeCro. We look forward to seeing your games tomorrow, but we have one more match left tonight. Before that, though, breaking news, the Iron Horde. What's happening?